Hello and welcome back to Talon 101. This time we're going to talk about Flying Eagle 3 Slide 4. This has been a good neutral 2 for Hwoarang in left foot forward at -3 on block, but it does come out at 22 frames. Tekken 8 saw that and said, hey, let's make that faster. And now allows you to do it in Right Flamingo Stance at 16 frames, and that is big. So before we go to like the whole Right Flamingo stuff, for the most part, both moves are the same. So like 3 Slide 4 in left foot forward comes out 22 frames. Right Flamingo, it comes out at 16 frames. So besides that, their frame data is more or less the same. So we're only going to go over it once before we talk about a couple of differences. And so Flying Eagle in general knocks down on hit, right? And is -3 on block. So you're always safe right after this. And you're always going to be in left foot forward, even if you did it in Right Flamingo. So if you do get this on hit, standard Oki applies. So you can wave dash into like an FF3. You can do a couple DF3 cancels and then throw out an LFS mid. Or you don't even have to do that. Just sidestep right into an FF3. So you can pretty much do whatever you like on the Oki, which is great. Not complicated at all. On block, now you can move to either side. It's exactly the same as forward 2, where you're -2 on block, except instead of being an RFF, you're in left foot forward. So you can backdash or sidestep depending on the move the opponent does. And of course, you can challenge with like a down jab or DF3-4 for demonstration. Let's ask the opposing CPU to throw out, let's say, a jab, right? So your opponent will throw out a jab here right after blocking Flying Eagle. And when that happens, as we mentioned earlier, down jab, panic options in back 1 or back 2. And of course, backdashing their option. Now, there is a just frame version to this. Unfortunately, I will not be able to show that to you here. But just know that Hwoarang does shout. It's just something like chua, right? And you need to get Flying Eagle at frame 1 for both the 3 and the 4. So your input must look something like this. You see how there's a 3 and a 4 right beside each other? And the key part is that your 3 must come out at frame 1. Of course, the 4 also should be around frame 1 as well. There are instances where you don't have to be frame 1, but to be consistent with the just frame input, make sure it comes out at frame 1. There are multiple methods you can do, such as like maybe drumming the input, sliding the input. It's worked for other players, and there are certainly top Hwoarang players out there who are getting this pretty consistently. And if you do, what happens to Flying Eagle is that it becomes +1 block like RFS DF4. That is big. Because imagine playing against any character that has a reversal or a parry, and you did down back 4 to Right Flamingo, and you're thinking, I want to use a mid, but I can't use a slow mid like RFS of forward 3. So the one thing about Flying Eagle is that since it is considered an airborne move, you will beat the parry / reversal. And if you end up being +1 in that situation as well, that means you can do something like this. And let's say, just imagine, right, for discussion's sake, that my Flying Eagle is the just frame version. You can now do something like 2F4 right after. Yeah, no, it's cheap. And if not that, you can do a down jab. Basically, everything you could do on RFS DF4 on block, now you'd be able to do on Flying Eagle at the wall. Of course, in open, it's a little bit more difficult to do that because RFS DF4 on block keeps the opponent right in front of Hwoarang's face. Flying Eagle, with the just frame, still has pushback on block. So you can't necessarily just press a button right away after a Flying Eagle just frame version, right? But if you do have the wall, man, is it so good. So that covers more or less Flying Eagle in left foot forward. So the main big thing in Right Flamingo is that it added another low crush option. A safe one at that. A safe mid-low crush option. I was saying earlier that RFS of forward 3 is a little bit on the slower end. So instead of them keeping the 22 frames and making it similar to RFS of forward 3 at 24, they said, let's make it faster at 16 frames. And that's huge because now, if Hwoarang does down back 4 forward, right, into Right Flamingo, and it gets blocked, before what would happen is a down jab would beat you. And you can't do anything. Of course, a standard down jab will still beat out Flying Eagle, but if they try to do the 11 frame version, well, they're gonna lose. And that's troublesome. Now they can't necessarily quote-unquote OS the option anymore after blocking this, because if they, let's say, throw out the 10 frame one, right? Then you always had something to cover it. that they do that and you throw it out, well, they're dead. So the layers that the opponent has to think about in the mix-up is pretty high. Also, if the opponent has a backswing blow and you're doing it off any of the Right Flamingo extensions that aren't super plus, most especially on block like RFFDF4, Flying Eagle will track them. I know, it's crazy. And then you don't have to do anything risky anymore like RFS back 4. Of course, you still have an alternative safe option in like RFS of forward 3. But if you're trying to remain frame tight and more compact, Flying Eagle gets the job done. The last thing about this move is that it is a combo filler, a very important combo filler. And you're gonna see it in a lot of Hwoarang's D&B combos. And you can throw that pretty much anywhere. It could come off like a DF2, it could come off a back 3. Off the axe kick in RFS DF4. And your route is more or less consistent every single time. So, it was a combo filler back in Tekken 7, but you can do like 2 of these in a combo if you wanted to. Actually, 3 of it if you wanted to. So it's a combo filler. It could be a wall carry option. And it could also be like a legitimate combo ender as well. Because the Oki on it isn't that bad. It's more or less the same as like up forward 3+4 forward flashing trident. So in general, this move went from like an underrated option to press to now probably an overpressed option because it's just that vital to Hwoarang's game, most especially in Right Flamingo. Of course, its left foot forward usage is still probably a little bit on the underrated side, but man, every Hwoarang I've played in the mirror so far, always, they're throwing this out in Right Flamingo more often than not over all the other Right Flamingo mid options. Yeah, so press it. Press Flying Eagle. Let your wings fly. And have a safe mid-low crush that gives you space on block, good Oki on hit, and a combo filler when you need it. Yeah, so that's everything I know about Flying Eagle. That's the lesson for this video. Again, I've been Frontier, and thank you for watching.